Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great and hope you're holding out relatively well. I mean, I've had a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of messages from people from the XRP community, which obviously, like the XRP community around my channel is quite big, right? I mean, XRP is a coin I've covered daily for the last year, and before that, I covered it very, very often as well. And I've been pretty bullish on XRP, right? I mean, I've always said when I still remember doing a long-term analysis on the XRP back in February 2025, I said, I think we're going higher, and we went higher. And outside of that, I always called out that XRP, even though for the majority of 2025 we actually did not move that much, XRP has still been one of the strongest performers in the entirety of 2025. It's been incredibly stable. So, but a lot of people have reached out that they were liquidated or that they lost a lot of money with the crash on Friday holding XRP, for example, on 2x leverage, right? 2x leverage is very often deemed safe, but let's say that you had another 1x leverage position on or something like that, but basically the margin decreased and people were liquidated. So that was very sad to hear. Obviously a lot of people reach out to me, so then you get more and more of those stories. So that's sad to hear, but luckily we are starting to see a little bit more structure, and I would say a higher probability of some recovery for XRP. I think, by the way, as well, if you take a look at the 3-day time frame here for XRP, like, yes, we have lost the uptrend right here on the 3-day time frame. But we've done that before, and the last time we actually did that. The last time we lost the 3-day uptrend, we were able to reclaim that, and that was right here early April. And then after early April we rallied, and then obviously we had another dump in June, but then in July we actually had that massive rally again. And I still fundamentally think with the XRP ETF coming most likely somewhere in 2025, so most likely Q4, I still think that's a major reason to be bullish on XRP. I think that the XRP ETF is one of the best ETFs that's going to launch, and I'm not optimistic about all of them, all right? But XRP, I am. I think the upside with that is pretty major, pretty significant. But we have to reclaim that. Now on the 4-hour time frame, we are starting to see a little bit of structure right here. The main support level here locally being 2.31 and the main resistance level being 2.58. But there's two reasons why I'm relatively optimistic about XRP here, and relatively optimistic in the sense that we can get that move up to 2.75 and 2.8. And then once we get to that level, obviously we're only one positive headline away from reclaiming that, and reclaiming that structurally on the higher time frames. So 2.75 and 2.8 would be major. But I won't talk too much about that yet. But this, I think, is more and more likely for two reasons. First of all, technically, we have reclaimed the 7-day rolling VWAP, and just in general, the 7-day rolling VWAP has lost some of its potency, I would say. It's a word that came up out of my mind, but I think it works. Like the 7-day rolling VWAP, when it's really being respected as resistance, that means that there's a strong downtrend. So the fact that it isn't is good news, and we're also holding the point of control right here, which is pretty good. That's a high liquidity zone, so actually finding support there is a good sign. And I think we also had a naked point of control there of the move up on Sunday, so that's good. And then outside of that, we're also seeing continued recovery for equities. Russell 2000 is moving up, S&P 500 is trying to recover as well. So all of that makes me slightly positive. Now ultimately, even though I'm slightly positive, like if I want to be medium term or long term positive, we need to reclaim 2.75 and 2.8, and I think it's too early for me to call that. So that is something I'll keep you updated on. I think short term, by the way, I mean, to be a little bit more specific, we can actually consolidate here for a bit longer as well, right? I mean, I don't expect a reclaim or breakout or whatever you want to call it very quickly. So be aware of that, keep that in mind. But ultimately, I do think it's more likely that we will see that, and this is also a possibility, but ultimately, I do think it's more likely we'll see a bullish breakout than a bearish one. And those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching, take care, and bye.